And I'd like to ask whoever has number 2 to come up and read theirs.
I own a home with my wife in the Upper Valley of Vermont, and I've been using an Echelon 180 heating system since I moved here 20 years ago. We heat primarily with wood, although we use oil when I know I will not be here to check the system for a prolonged period of time. Currently, I use the Echelon for 5 zones of heating in my 2,000 foot home, along with the domestic hot water and heating of my garage. Aside from regular maintenance and some minor repairs, the system has not required any serious upkeep and has outperformed many oil systems that I have seen in the past. When repairs are needed, the staff at Alternate Heating were always helpful and courteous in answering my questions and placing orders for my parts. My family and I have come to depend on the Echelon as a part of everyday life during the long Vermont winters. As we as we enter our 20th holiday season with the Echelon E180 as the primary heating system in our home, I have no doubt it will perform just as well as it has over the past 20 years. J. Martin, Gabriella Martino, Bradford, Vermont, November 2007.
So this is a gentleman that has had his boiler for over 20 years, and he's still happy with it. And one of the things that he specifically points out is a benefit is when he leaves, he can have his alternate heating source kick in, so he doesn't have to worry about his wood source running out. That is a great advantage of this system. There's also no computer chip integration. Any of us that work with computers and any kind of digitized equipment, we know, even with our cars, they now have computer chips. We can't fix them. We have to actually take them into the garage, spend more money to get them fixed there because of the computer chip. Well, this is something this boiler does not need. It doesn't.
Firstly, I live in Scotland and not the USA. There are many wood boilers and furnaces made in Europe, but only a few are gasification based. The only units available in the UK are large and fairly primitive. Our wood is a mix of softwood, mainly Scots pine, of course, and beech. We dry all wood under cover for 2 years, as that's what our in-house wood needs are. Despite the transport cost and taxes, we choose the wood gum E100 for at least the following 10 reasons. Double combustion system. Number 2, logs up to 2 feet. Number 3, can add chips, not yet done but thinking about it. Number 4, reignites so it is okay to load and run during the night so it is ready for full power in the morning without having to get up early, load wood, and light the fire. Does not use fancy electronic controllers. I used to be in military avionics and know that this year's latest controller chip will not be made in 10 years when your controller fails. 304 stainless steel lining. I could have bought an Eastern European model for half the price, but half the quality. It was clear from my phone calls and subsequent visit to the factory that AHS would work with me to ensure I bought the product that was right for me, and it is. This included making the electrical system compatible with European 230 volt 50 hertz. Uses an exhaust fan so the fire chamber is under negative pressure. That means that if any seal leaks, it lets air in and not carbon monoxide out. In my mind, this is vital for safety. Due to the exhaust fan, it does not require a long chimney. It is well made and looks good. Andy Gibbs, West Lothian, Scotland, August August 2007.
So one of the points he brings out, among many, is that it does not have the fancy electronic controllers. And that is something that was enough of a merit for him that he was willing to come and to the U.S. He made several trips over here to Pennsylvania to look everything out and was willing to ship this at much greater cost to himself all the way over to Scotland and install it in his home. It has easy boiler cleaning, as I already mentioned before, and the thermostat settings make house sitting unnecessary. So if you decide to go into Anchorage for the weekend, you can just turn your thermostat down. You don't have to have someone come sit at your house and stoke it for you. And of course, a great advantage to we ladies is that it minimizes house cleaning. You no longer have all of that soot and dust in the house that comes every time you stoke it. You don't have bringing all this firewood in that causes wood debris everywhere. I mean, this is a great savings in our time. I can't tell you how often we have to dust at home because of the barrel stove. So these are the pros and the cons. Moving on, the next slide shows you a gasification boiler diagram. Those of you who wanted handouts, you have that to look at your convenience. But it shows you an example of what one of these boilers looks like from the inside. Of course, some of these things will be different depending on what model you get and what you're actually burning, whether you're burning wood, gas, propane. Some of these will be different. The oil burner, for instance, would not be on the wood gut because we are burning wood. So that gives you an idea of what you're actually looking at. I think this will really benefit the men especially. Some of this is Greek to us. The next slide, I'm going to just go over a quick calculation of the 3 points that I was asking questions on specifically that would make me know whether a gasification boiler, specifically the wood gun E500, would be a wise way to go for my house. And the one point that I asked was it going to be good for the environment? Yes, it is. It's a very happy environment we're going to have here with no harmful greenhouse gas emissions, virtually no exhaust gases, and using a third less wood. That means less trees that we're cutting down. Even though it's a renewable fuel source, we still want to use it wisely. Non-allergenic. Smoke is eliminated from the house, and the creosote formation is prevented at a much higher rate than any other thing we can use to burn wood. Abundant hot water. The automatic cycling is on and off. It's automatic. And depending on whether we go with the E120 or the E500, we have 140 to a 210 gallon capacity of hot water at any given time, which is more than sufficient for us. So these 3 things, I was very happy to find out that the wood gun does